In this video, I am going to find the domain of this given function. Note that this function involves division. Not only just division, it has two factors in the denominator right here. So it's a rational function because it involves division. Now we need to absolutely make sure that when we are dividing this 2x plus 7 by whatever in the denominator, it does not evaluate to 0. So we need to exclude all the values of x that's going to make the denominator 0. Obviously, the easy one to see that if you plug in x is equal to 1, x minus 1 is going to be 0. So you're dividing by 0 because 0 times square root of x plus 3 or whatever that number comes out to be is going to be 0. So you're dividing 2x plus 7 by 0. That's unacceptable. So you do not want this value. So you do not want this value in your domain. Another thing is, look at the square root factor in the denominator, x plus 3. Remember, in the square root it says that you cannot have negative numbers under the square root, meaning x plus 3 has to be greater than or equal to 0. However, the interesting point here is that this x plus 3 square under the square root, it appears in the denominator. So you cannot have this also be equal to 0. Okay? X plus 3 cannot be equal to 0 also. So this restriction tells me that x plus 3 must be greater than 0, not 3, greater than 0. X plus 3 must be greater than 0. And this is only true because square root of x plus 3 appears in the denominator. So, which tells me if I solve for x here, x is greater than negative 3. So now I have two conditions here. One says that x has to be greater than negative 3, other says that x cannot be equal to 1. If I put it all together on a number line, so that will be easier to see for you. This is negative 3 and let's say this is my 1. Okay. This condition says that x is greater than negative 3. That means everything to the right of this point. But this condition says that x cannot be equal to 1. So that means I exclude this thing. If I put these two together, I get everything. So let me use a different color. Everything from here. So from here all the way up to 1, exclude 1. So exclude 1. And everything to the right of 1. So now if I put it on the number line, it's going to be, I start at negative 3, not at negative infinity. Remember, this condition says x has to be greater than negative 3. So it's going to be negative 3. I don't include negative 3. Why do I go up to 1, right? And I don't include that point 1. So it's going to be this. Then union, from 1 I start. I don't include the point 1. And all the way I go up to positive infinity. And that's your domain for this function. This is the number line notation, representation, and this is the interval notation. And this is how you do it. Now let me summarize what I just did. We found domain for a function that is a rational function, where in the denominator I have two factors. One is a straight ordinary factor x minus 1, and the other is under the square root. When I am dealing with a denominator that has square root in it, okay, we need to make sure that we exclude the possibility that whatever value under the square root evaluates to 0. So that's why we get rid of this equality part. We say x plus 3 must be greater than 0, and from that I get x is greater than negative 3. If I put this condition and this condition together, I get this. Okay, I hope that this discussion was helpful. Thank you very much.